Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight and continuing to watch this series on actualizing your authentic self. I continue to be so grateful to have you all here. Philip, who is normally our moderator, is having a power outage tonight. So Susie Evolutionary has jumped in for us. Susie is an amazing trauma informed astrology and metaphysical provider. And I'm joined tonight by my wonderful guest, Reverend Jude Denning. Jude, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been involved in what started out when I was about 20 in what we called then consciousness raising. And for me, that meant going within. And so I've been doing this for a long time, 40 years or more. And I'm now minister at Unity of Stuart here in Stuart, Florida. And I love the foundation of this podcast, video cast. What do we call this, Vita?
I don't know,
Yeah.
just calling it a
This
series. We could
this
call it
series,
whatever.
this series on YouTube with Vita, and because I love to talk about authenticity and what it's like to be real in the world and what it's like to touch into what makes me tick and what ticks me off, and then deal with that in a raised consciousness sort of way. So
Yeah,
it's good to be here. Thanks, Vita.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. And Susie is saying hi as well.
Hi, Susie.
Yeah. So yeah, I just thank you. I'm so grateful to have you here, both of you. And I do want to call out that um, I have thunderstorms going on as well. So if something happens to the stream, that's what it is. But in the meantime, hopefully it won't. And I'll just take a moment to breathe us into the container. So go ahead and I invite you to just take whatever position feels comfortable to you right now. If it feels good to do so, close your eyes and gently bring your attention to your breath. Allow your breath to move in its natural rhythm, in and out, and simply notice it. Notice any sensations in your mind, body, spirit system, acknowledging them and allowing yourself to be as you are. And then returning yourself to your breath. In this space, we grow and learn together, and we just hold the knowing that every starting place is the perfect place to step forward on the path to where you want to be, to actualize your authentic, joyful, most fully expressed self. Now we gently return our attentions to our breath again. And when you're ready, open your eyes and rejoin the space. Yeah. I love the practice of setting a container. It always clarifies me and helps me feel so filled.
Amen.
Yeah. And Susie, yeah, like authenticity is inner balance from my perspective, right? It is the beingness, allowing ourselves to be and be present. So tonight, Reverend Jude and I, the run of show that we've discussed is we'll be chatting about some questions that we've agreed to bring to the table. Susie really jumped in last minute, so doesn't have the advantage that Philip usually has of the questions to add to the chat. But it will be great without that. And And please feel welcome, as always, to share comments or questions. We both have eyes on the chats, and we're both going to be looking as much as we can. If something escapes us, it's not because we don't care. We're so excited to have you here, and and it's also a lot to keep track of, being on live with each other and you. Um, and then Jude will be sharing a practice with us. So so tonight, yeah. So our first question tonight is, what is New Thought Wisdom?
Yeah, so just to let you all know that I had these questions beforehand, so I did make some notes. So if you see me looking up and to the right, you'll notice that probably and see that I made some notes because I'm quite a little nervous actually,
Hmm.
and I want to be able to keep my train of thought linear. So it's an actual train. So what New Thought Wisdom is a way of living our lives based on um, knowing that our thoughts and beliefs are shaped by our consciousness,
Hmm.
that our consciousness and the things that we think about on a regular, ongoing basis are what shapes our life. So if we are engaging in new thought wisdom, we're engaging in being aware, as I said in my intro, of what makes us tick and what ticks us off, because that is a harbinger of what we need to either lean into or transform in our lives. So our minds are creative intelligence. And that's the first thought for me when we talk about consciousness and being authentic. I first go within and see what's going on in my mind and in my body. And
Hmm.
that's for me, that's the foundation of new thought wisdom as it relates to authenticity.
Hmm. Yeah. The first thing that always comes up for me when I'm thinking about New Thought is consciousness is the bedrock of all being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and I love the. I picked up that phrasing from Amit Goswami when I was studying the quantum doctor with him, and it's he had one of the things that he taught in his class when he was reflecting on balance, which I think, again, like Susie called out in the chat, that like when we're authentic, we're in inner balance, right? That's when we're
Mm.
in balance. We're expressing ourselves. And even if that can get messy, it still is a place of balance. But to go wrap my thoughts back in, Dr. Goswami used that song, Doobie Doobie Doo, to just reflect on the balance of doing and being.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
It is as important to be as to do, as to be as to do. We need to make space to allow ourselves, like we just did opening the container,
Yeah.
to be in that space.
Yeah. And again, just to kind of piggyback onto what you're saying about authenticity, for
Please.
me, a lot of it is when the when the outer matches the inner and the
Mhm.
inner matches the outer. And of course, there are um, more uh, compassionate ways when if I'm feeling angry or if I'm feeling resentful or whatever feeling I might have in any given moment is to while not stuffing it, not acting with unkindness about it.
Mm.
Even sometimes just saying, okay, I'm activated by that, or sometimes just say I'm triggered by that. I need to go away. I need to go apart for a while, and that's a skill I've been working on and developing in for a while in my life.
Yeah,
So
what really serves me there is the practice of the pause.
yeah.
Like, if I and tuning into my body, right? That this the I think it's a reflection of my perspective and having studied therapeutic massage for so long, but like tuning into my body is is like my first practice.
Right.
Um, and and then I and so when I notice something happening in my body, a discomfort,
Yeah.
a nervousness, an anger, any kind of reaction or interaction with my circumstances, just taking a pause and being with it, right?
In my spirit, go
And
ahead.
then and then choosing what my
What's
action.
next?
Yeah.
Yeah. In my spiritual community, I speak every Sunday, and we, in various parts of the order of service, I'm returning us to breath, just
Mhm.
returning us to breath. So we get to know what it feels like to take that pause, as Vita is saying, and to take that big deep breath before we move on to something else, or to ground something that we're learning, or whatever, it's an affirmation, or just to be still, to go back to the breath.
Yes.
So powerful to go back to the breath. Let's do
Yeah.
that right now for 1 second. Let's
Yeah.
just
Let's do
take a
it.
nice deep breath together. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you for that.
the pause.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and right, the more that we are present with ourselves, I know for myself, the more that I am present with myself, the more I can be who I am in the moment and allow that to fluctuate and change.
Right.
Right? I find that it really is in self-judgment that the tripping up happens. Right? It's like I'm existing, I'm doing this, that, whatever, and I'm learning and I'm practicing showing up with an open heart, pouring into myself, supporting myself so that I can feel great and show up for other people. I
Yeah.
can't help anybody with their oxygen mask if I don't have mine on.
Right.
and
Yeah.
and uh and just taking that moment to notice where I am helps me know where I'm coming from. Susie is asking us a question. How would
Mm.
either or both of us address the conflation often found in current climates between authenticity and hyper-vigilance and defensive behaviors? I'd love to hear you speak on that. It's a great question. I love it. Thank you for putting that out there. I'm happy to take it or to have you take it.
I'll start. I
Okay.
mean, and I know you'll bring wisdom after me as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny because Vita and I are prayer partners. We met several
That's
years
right.
ago. Was it like in 2020, 2021, something
Yeah.
like that, in an online class? And I don't even know how long we've been prayer partners. I haven't kept track, but we've been prayer partners for a while, and we speak to each
Yeah.
other every week. And today, my prayer when Vita and I were talking is about being in the space of this current climate, Susie. That for me, the current climate is not good from my perspective. It's a bit frightening when I go to that place, and how I've been dealing with it in the outer is not paying too much attention to what's happening in the news, but of course things come through and conversations happen around me. And what we talked about today and was for me to be in that space of I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, and all will be well, and all is well. And all is one is something that Vita added on to that little prayer. And to just be in that space of not knowing, also to do what I can in my consciousness to see people safe, to see people fed, to see people protected, to see, all of that, and also to move my feet around that in the ways that I can, to donate where I can, to help where I can, and when I find myself going to the dark side, to bring myself back, to go back into the foundation of what I am is as an expression of spirit, an expression of the divine, and act accordingly in my
Yes.
thoughts and in
Yeah.
my
So I'm like eager to
yeah,
interject.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go, go.
I want to contextualize for our viewers now and later that our first meeting, our first direct interaction was in an anti-racism group, book study group that actually Reverend Jude was part of spearheading. So, like when Jude is saying that she is tuning out of the news, it doesn't mean that she is taking her finger off the pulse,
Right.
right?
Thank you.
And I just want to contextualize that for everyone who doesn't know you as well as I do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's right. That's right. Because I'm just talking to you right now, really, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and right, Susie, exactly. Contributing to solutions and relief in the smallest way helps to feel less helpless, for sure. Reverend Jude and I last week were talking about how if all of us show up during our prayer meeting, if all of us show up in whatever way we're available to after we have poured into ourselves, then it adds up. There is no small.
Yeah.
Like people telling you that your contribution is small is a trick, right? Like think about the movie Ants. When all those ants pile on the grasshoppers, they overrun the grasshoppers. It is enough if all of us are showing up for ourselves and showing up with an open heart to contribute to the world.
Yeah.
And what we spoke more on today was mutual aid,
Yeah.
right? Like mutual aid when we help our neighbors, when we I don't love the word help because
Yeah.
that to me speaks of like control somehow.
How about support? Is that better?
Support is great, is good. I really love the word like I see myself instead of a healer as a facilitator. Uh and it's like I'm a facilitator supporting people and connecting with and tuning into listening to their inner wisdom, their inner
Yeah.
guidance. Your inner wisdom always knows best. Sorry, I'm like, but
So good.
yeah, like it's the truth. The more that you can tune in, the
Right.
more that each of us can tune in, the more you know what to do. And all of that overwhelm takes us out of that space, which is why, again, coming back to the breath, right?
Right. Right.
So let's take another breath.
All right, let's do it.
All right, deep breath. And as we reset, we get to show up again, right? That is the practice of pouring in. We take as many pauses as we need. We allow ourselves to be, and then we show up with an open heart as ourselves, and we make contributions. And those contributions make change. Another analogy that I want to throw out is think about when you see a stone hit a pond. One stone, right, ripples throughout the pond. It touches everything.
Yeah.
That is a physical demonstration of ideas like the butterfly effect. Nothing you do is small. Every kindness or unkindness has big repercussions. And we can't be perfect. I'm not perfect. We're all human together. We're all in this journey together. We're all here. It's fine. It is what it is.
Mhm.
And we can practice,
Yeah.
right? And that's like my goal is I pour into myself. I love myself so much. So I can love me so much. So I can love you so much. So you can start loving me.
Yeah.
Right? That's that song I love.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, right. Susie, yeah, there's so much value of being in of the practice of breathing. Yeah, I love that.
Going back to the inner matching the outer or the outer matching the inner and being my authentic self, if I
Mhm.
could,
Yeah.
that I've been I've been an interfaith I'm an interfaith minister and a unity minister. And my first ordination was interfaith minister. And when the night before I was ordained as an interfaith minister, I was with my then partner And I said to them, what am I doing? I'm not equipped to be a minister. I'm petty. I'm resentful. I hold grudges. I am not ready to do this. And he said, that's why you'd make a good minister, because
Mm.
you know that and you work on it and you practice through that and practice with those feelings to rise above them. And so when I get to that place now, when I feel petty and resentful and all that other stuff that we never want anybody to know about, right? Especially when I'm a minister, is that I own it, and I speak it into the space, where that
Yeah.
I'm in. And if it's inappropriate to speak it into the space, I take it into the quiet and into my own inner work and work with that. And we talked about, you said a minute ago, Vita, that no, we're not perfect, we're human. And I don't care for that. I want to be perfect.
Yes.
I want to never make a mistake. So I want to just tell a little story of something that happened not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before that. We live stream, and we live stream through a software that's called Restream. And when this the early service started, we weren't connected to Facebook. We were just connected to YouTube. So when I got in, because the first service is done by someone else, when I got in there, I set all that up so I know how to do it. And so not only did I not fix it, I broke the YouTube link. So when the 10:30 service came around, we weren't live streamed. And I realized that I had broken it. And in thinking back, I also broke the Facebook. The Facebook wasn't working because of me. So I was feeling really like a non-perfect human being.
Yeah.
And so literally from the platform, I said, we're not live for those of you because we recorded it, those of you who are watching in the future, um, uh, I broke it. And I just owned it right there on the platform. And I say, we're human. We all make mistakes. And even though it doesn't feel good to make a mistake and that affects other people, especially, I find that I let it go so much quicker when I own it, when
Mhm.
I'm authentic about my piece in it, and I just own it, and then I can just let it go. And one of my early spiritual teachers said, and I'm sure many of us have heard this: treat yourself like you would treat a dear friend.
Yeah.
Like when I make a mistake, to treat myself. And literally, the thing that she taught me was to go, "Oh, they're there, honey. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay." So inside, outside, being who I am, being the same person in every room I'm in,
Yeah.
whether it's here, whether it's with my family, whether it's on the platform in my conversations, be the same person.
Yeah. I think like my brain is thank you for sharing that story. And it put into my brain the idea of stained glass or like something that is fragmented, right? Like different sized pieces that are all broken in different ways, but they come together to create a beautiful whole. And it's, when you said I want to be perfect or I am perfect, well, right, we are, you are, we all are, like in our imperfection we are perfect. And the more that we own our imperfection, the more I'm getting those like truth shivers. The more that we
Mm-hmm.
own our imperfection, the more that we own our own experience, the the more connected we can be. Like Susie called out, right? Like we
Yeah.
connect more as humans with each other
Yeah.
when we are ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? Now, in a session with a client, I think either of us would maybe share, I know that I would share some, but not, it's a different sharing,
Yeah.
right? I'm sharing an analogy or a story uh, with the focus on them. And I never am. I would only share a story about myself in a space where I would alternatively share a teaching story, like a fable or something. Um, and yeah, because it's great, it's perfect to be real together and to take ownership. Like when I'm with a client and I say something or I tell them something instead of asking them to tune in, and then I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, oh, that was too much, you
Mhm.
know, and not that that happens all the time, but but when it happens,
Yeah.
it's like another opportunity to just take ownership and own who we are. So I think that we have discussed our second question. What does it mean to practice authenticity?
Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything that you want to add to that before we move on to our third question?
I'm going to add to something you just said about
Okay.
perfection.
Yeah.
One of the first, when I was young, 20, one of the first books I read when I was on the conscious spiritual path was Illusions by Richard Bach.
Mm,
And if you don't know that book, look it up. It's a really sweet story. And Richard was the student, and the Messiah was the teacher, and Messiah in the flesh. And Richard was bemoaning something about perfection. And the teacher said to him, "Look at the sky.
mm,
What do you see?" And Richard said, "I see some clouds. I see this. There might be some rain over there," whatever he said. And the teacher said, "Well, even with that, is the sky perfect?" So yes. So when it's bright blue, it's perfect. When there are clouds, it's perfect. When there's lightning, it's perfect. And the same goes for us.
yeah, which I think is like brings my mind back anyway to I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I'm Shanti, I'm Shanti, I'm Shanti, right? Like
All as well. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
peaceful.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready to move on now if you are.
Okay. So, so the third question is how does experience serve our spiritual evolution? And what if our experiences are painful or traumatizing ones?
Yeah. So I can talk about how my experiences helped me to grow.
Yeah.
Um, so when life breaks your heart, it breaks the illusions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It we discover what actually matters,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I've had a fair amount of death at an early age in my life. My mom died, I was 17, and I didn't come on the conscious path until 19. But those years between 17 and 19 were quite something, with substances and alcohol and other things that I won't share now. And it wasn't until I met our mutual friend, re-met our mutual friend Michelle Wadley, that I came on the conscious spiritual path.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I was able to think about another way of living. So my experiences and the tragedies in my life and the things that were difficult to handle, um, after that, and not to this day, quite frankly, is I just keep going back to the spiritual truth that I know and the spiritual truth that I practice, and I want to make sure I'm staying with the questions. So what happens is that painful events for me stripped away the ego, stripped away the any notion that I had any control over my life. It also, spiritual practice also stripped away the experience of what I did, that it was against me, that this happened to me, and that
Mm-hmm.
I was a victim. So I was able to, instead of going, why me, I'm able to say, now, what's next? What is the next indicated thing that I'm to do? And
Mm-hmm.
usually it's breathe and be
Mm-hmm.
quiet, go apart a while. Did that answer the question? Maybe, maybe.
It's
And
related.
yeah,
I
and
think I
and
think to have an expectation that we are going to answer any of these deep thought, open, generative questions in full in 45
okay,
minutes, like or less, because each question gets less, is
yeah,
would be, you know,
right,
but people can reach out to either of us, all of us,
yeah.
talk more about it.
Yeah.
So,
My grandmother used to say all the time, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And while I think that that's true, I sometimes say, okay, spirit, I'm strong enough. Strong enough now. And this is what life is. That's the other thing about a spiritual path, a conscious spiritual path that has practice in it, is that I recognized over the years that spiritual practice isn't about never experiencing a hurt feeling. It's not about never experiencing ill health. It's not about rainbows and unicorns. It's about being able to meet those things with a measure of peace and a measure of calm and a measure of expansion. For me, it's what's next instead of why me.
there's an analogy coming to mind that I heard um, at a Mary Marin Manon Morrissey event.
Mm-hmm.
She's a metaphysical teacher who focuses on abundance for anybody who isn't familiar with her. Um, and so the analogy is life when we meet a hard circumstance in life, right? We're on a ship and we're sailing and we're like living our lives, right? So we're just enjoying this ship on the open sea and it's a beautiful day and then a storm comes. And the storm can be very intense and thunder and lightning is coming, just like many of us are experiencing across the US right now, right? And these intense storms that are shutting off power. And and then like so we're at first inundated with the circumstance. We're in it, we're human in it. Where whatever your reaction is, whether you take a pause and you tune in or not, even even when we are pausing to choose our reaction, we're tuning into the reaction in our body so that we can be aware, be take ownership of it. But there is something to take ownership of, right? So that's all that first storm stuff. We're having feelings, we're having thoughts, we're having experience, and then we get enough process, enough breath, and we hit the eye of the storm. And we're in this calm place where we can see what's happening, we can be present with it, we can be all around. And all around us is the storm, right? That context is still there. What's happening is still going on, it's still around us. Now, on the other side is this beautiful beach, right? That's where we were going all along. We had this dream for ourselves, this goal, this thing we wanted to achieve. We're headed towards that beautiful beach. And we still want to get there. And we're in the eye of the storm, so we're maybe trying to figure out a path or be present with the next step or whatever it is. But no matter what, we have to get through the other half of the storm. And so we take a deep breath and we move through it. And we get shaken up again, and we have more feelings and more thoughts and more experience. And hopefully, we remember to breathe so we can have tiny pieces. We can pour back in, and we make it to the other side of the storm. We make it to that beach. And maybe the beach doesn't look like what we thought it was going to look like, but it's beautiful. Right? I know that every time I move through an experience like that, when I go through the process of it all and I integrate it and I experience how it is in my body, I allow the thoughts in my mind and I approach them with gentle curiosity. I connect with spirit, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, this thing, this one organism that we're all a part of. I connect with that and I tune in because that's part of me too, right? So so I tune into my entire experience, and when I hit that beach, I have expanded. Moving through means expansion. And and so it's hard, right? Like we're in challenging circumstances right now. In America, around the globe. Around the globe, there are wars, new ones, thanks to
The current conditions in our
the current,
country.
the current government choices. And And there are terrifying things happening in America, people being taken out of their homes. There are real challenges everywhere. Our climate is in need of support. And the more we can be present with ourselves and tune in and allow your inner wisdom to tell you the next thing, the next step that you can take. Your inner wisdom knows best. Whatever it is that you are available for when you are tuned in to all of that you ness, that feeling, that thought, just allowing it with gentle curiosity in that place of peace, that's when you can move through the rest of the storm to the other side. And that's how we can all do it together.
I love what you said about feeling it, just and so and that feeling it is important and not stuffing it. And one of the last questions was about trauma. What if it's trauma, right? And
Mhm.
have this is trauma like a lesson we're given. And so trauma happens. That's because life happens, stuff happens in each one of our lives. And the way that spiritual practice comes in is that we learn as we heal, right? We learn as we heal, whether we're grieving something, whether we've had trauma we've been carrying in our lives, is that once we make that decision to like look at it squarely in the face and then go within and even ask with gentle curiosity, what is mine to do here? That's where the healing, that's where the healing begins.
Mhm.
I don't think that that mystery that we call God says you get this trauma, you get this trauma, you get blessed with this, you get hurt by this. I don't believe that happens. I believe life happens. And
Mhm.
then we get to use our life experiences and heal from our life experiences. And that's the way we expand.
Yeah. And my brain just, like, my echolalia just went off and started singing, and that's the way. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh,
I like
uh-huh.
it. Right? Because I like the evolving, the moving through, the getting to that beach. Like, it is peaceful when we move through, when we get to the other side, and it's peaceful when we pause and take breaths in it. And that's about making space for ourselves while we process. And the space that you need, whoever you are, at any time, and all of your fluctuations is okay. You don't have to justify your emotions, they're valid.
Or your timeline,
That's right.
or your timeline. it's
That's
it's
right.
it's all about it's all about you and
Yeah.
what's happening within you. So
Yeah.
don't let anybody, me, Vita, anybody that is speaking to you about processing it and and shame you into moving through what you need to move through on your own timeline.
That's right.
It'll come as it comes.
Hmm. That's right. Um, so now, Jude, we're at that time already. If you are ready to share that practice with us.
Sure, sure. So what the practice will look like, it's just a short little meditative practice. There'll be some silence and there'll be some of my voice, and then we'll end it. It shouldn't be more than, well, certainly not more than 6 minutes.
Okay.
And it'll be shorter than that. I'm sure
Okay.
of it. All
Great.
right. So uh, for those who are watching now and for those who may be watching in the future, I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable and just allow your body to rest right where you are. And I invite you into 3 deep breaths as deeply as you can, dropping your shoulders, releasing any tension that the body may be holding, and to be here now in this time, in this space. And ask yourself this: what am I feeling right now? What do I need right now? Am I being honest with myself and others today? And if something comes up around any of this, name it without judgment. Just know that it is whatever comes up. Tired, resentful, grateful, unsure. Just name it. Don't try to fix it or analyze. Knowing that authenticity starts with telling the truth to ourselves. Now I invite you to ask, what would be an honest, self-respecting version of me do next? Maybe it's a boundary. Maybe it's speaking up. Maybe it's resting. What do I do next? And I invite you to release that thought and let us spend, I don't know, 30 seconds or a minute just in the quiet, loving ourselves, knowing our own worth right here and right now, in the quiet. And as you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes and know that you can return to this piece, this whole talk, this whole interview, plus this meditation, this authenticity practice at any time. And so it is.
And so,
All right.
yeah. Thank you for that. That was
Yeah.
wonderful. I love that.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Gosh. So, yeah. Thanks, Susie. Well, and I think this is like our energy together is probable because we love each other. You
Yeah.
know, like this is like what love builds. The more that we can show up with an open heart, the more we build this beautiful space. And Jude and I like practice every week for years, like showing up to with an open heart and communication and like and safe space, non-judgment, just love and gentle curiosity. Right?
Yeah. And the question we sometimes ask each other is, can I offer something about what you just said? And the answer is always yes.
Yes.
Always yes.
Yes. Yes, and it doesn't have to be, right? Like all like we always answer yes because we're in this safe space that we built together, and it
Thank you
doesn't
for
have
that.
to
Yeah.
be. If Jude ever said no, I would say okay.
Yeah.
And that's you are always entitled to how you feel, the boundaries that you need, where you are. It's all valid.
Yeah. Amen.
Um, and we talked about you offering a prayer for us out.
Sure.
Or yeah.
I'm
Um,
happy
so,
to.
and I just want to again contextualize. This is a prayer. Reverend Jude is from Unity, which is a New Thought church, and so this will be a New Thought prayer.
Yeah, indeed. All
Yeah.
right. And once again, we breathe. And I invite us to access our gratitude, for right where we are in this now moment, whatever that is for you. Let's be grateful. Activate gratitude for being here in this place with this body, with this breath, knowing that the power, the presence of that mystery we call God or Buddha nature, whatever it is for you, is a living, breathing power that moves in and through each one of us, bringing us ever more into alignment with love, with joy, with peace, and with authenticity. And so it is.
And so it
Amen.
is. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Um,
you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. I would invite you to keep dropping questions or comments in the comment section. We will respond. I will certainly respond. And if you have tuned in to this, please like and subscribe. I'll be back on in 2 weeks with Victoria Whitfield, who is an incredible, amazing family and marriage therapist practicing out of Virginia.
Mm.
I will have that description up tonight or tomorrow.
Soonish.
Yeah, soon. And yeah, okay. So I'm going to sign us off now. I love me. I love you. I love us.
Namaste.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
All right.